The first thing we're going to discuss is how technology is socially constructed. In other words, we will detail how society shapes technology. The technology I chose to analyze is GPS and mapping systems. More specifically, I want to explain the issues for emergency responders using GPS when responding to emergency calls. So to begin, we will discuss where technology has come from. According to Trevor Pinch and Wee Bitchker, it is people, not machines, that design, build, and give meaning to technologies, and ultimately they decide which ones to adapt and which ones to reject. This information was found on page 107, paragraph 1 of the book Technology and Society. In other words, what they are trying to explain is that it's not the ability or knowledge of the people that lead to the type of technology that is developed. It is the needs of the people at the current time that leads to the type of technology that is created. This is also known as the Scott approach, which says that social groups direct every aspect of technology. GPS was developed for use in the military. The military had a need to know exactly where they were and exactly where they needed to go. So the military developed this global positioning satellite that was able to pinpoint exactly where they were and exactly how to get to where they wanted to get to. Later it became available to civilians. The second thing that we will discuss is the meaning ascribed to the technology by one or more social groups. For example, the air tire was developed with a view to afford increased facilities for the passage of wheeled vehicles. For others, the air tire was a way of going faster. For another group of engineers, it was an ugly looking way of making the wheeler even less safe than it already was. So that's one example. And then with GPS and mapping systems, we'll look at a couple different groups as well. GPS is widely viewed as the best way to find directions by most of the population in the United States, across the world as well. Through my experience as an emergency responder, we can't always rely on GPS. There have been numerous times where the wrong address has come up, or the address was put in wrong, or the address is unfound. And as an emergency responder, we need to be able to deviate from GPS when it may or may not be working. We need to be able to verify that the GPS is correct, because people are depending on us to be there quickly. Now, we're going to discuss how technology is affecting social relationships. Well, GPS has made people reliant on technology to get where they need to go. Newer generations don't know how to read a map. This can be an issue in emergency response because if the GPS fails us or the GPS comes without an unknown address, we need to be able to find it in a different way. So what we have are map books that have maps laid out so we can find where we need to go, but not everybody knows how to use them. Emergency responders have to be able to do that, and so this is a conflict that we must be prepared for. So what are the implications of the conflict of people's relationships with one another? Well, since we have had issues with GPS systems, it has caused our emergency response to be delayed at times. This has caused even some of us, including myself, to not even completely use the GPS systems and just use the map books. Because there's been so many times where the GPS has come up with an unknown address or has come up with the wrong address. Some of this is due to human error by not putting the correct address in, and some of it, the GPS system just can't read it. So this can take a little bit longer to use map books because it takes another minute or two to look up in a map book than as opposed to just hitting the address on the phone, on the GPS. It's a lot quicker, but it's not always reliable in my experiences. So again, it takes a little bit longer to locate the address, but it is almost 100% accurate when we use the mapping books. GPS is hit or miss.